What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Paranormies present the Ahnenerbe Hour, Season 2. We're back. Man, had a nice little break. We did TR WrestleMania. Well, those of us that went did. I am Johnny Monoxide, and tonight I am joined by Mr. Adam Haidt. What's up, dude?
Hey. Glad to be back for Season 2.
Yeah. Mr. Scott Taylor. What's happening, sir?
Hello.
And coming back for Episode 1, Season 2, the one and only Mr. Greyfield Stray. What's up, buddy?
Like a bad rash, he's back again. How's it going, guys? I'm good. Good.
Good to have you back on, dude. Missed you. No homo.
Hey, miss you too. It feels good to be back again. It's been too long. It's been too long.
Yeah. Death is not with us tonight, but he did provide us with our new opening song. What'd you think, guys?
I hate him. He did it better than I ever did.
Badass.
What do you think, Scott?
No, it's great. It sounds really good. I think you took what I sort of started out with, because you got to remember that intro came from a complete just improv session I did, but no effort into whatsoever. The fact that he's sort of taken it and actually like effort instrumented it, I guess. It sounds awesome. It sounds awesome. I love it. So
that's pretty great, too. Scott, what do you think, bud?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
It's got that old school black metalish sort of like mid to late 80s. With
the sound quality was a little too high for that.
yeah, as I say, it needs more trash can drums and
yeah.
Recorded it on duct tape.
Right. Well, he actually he used high quality masking tape is what he used. So
That's the problem.
Yeah, see.
So we are back. It's officially Season 2. We had 30 episodes of Season 1. A lot of great guests, a lot of good topics, a lot of weird shit, some spoop, some conspiracy, some paranormal. We're going to get back into that harder and heavier in Season 2. We've got some great guests lined up already. Tonight it's just a Paranormies episode, though, so hey. Before we get started...
brother.
OG Paranormies, nigga. All right. Before we get started, we have some emails that I want to go over. A lot of guys have sent us emails, and we never talk about them on the air. So, we had a couple words to show. There's a lot of any ideas what this thing is, and they send us this 16-page email on it's a lot of stuff to read, but
those are the best kind.
Yeah. Hey guys, I read something.
You're not allowed to use backspace.
In fact, just don't use punctuation at all. Just send us a wall of text because we freaking love it.
Yeah, don't use spaces. We're Romans here.
Wow.
In fact, if you could end it with like a word that you've had to split in two and like hyphenate it like regularly. That would be, that would feel so good.
Okay, so this email is about the narrative of Cabeza de Vaca, who was a 16th century Spanish explorer. He heard it from the Avavares, a Texas Indian tribe. Basically, there was a man called the Bad Thing that wandered around the country disemboweling people and throwing their entrails into a fire and cutting off their arms, after which he would completely heal them. So... really bad experience, but you go home okay, apparently. It's kind of sort of a Wendigo. I mean, that kind of goes back to the episode we had with Zev, talking about Wendigos.
So it sounds like Jesus went off the deep end to me.
Yeah, well, they said he was. Now here's the thing that got me, is they said the man who wandered, whom they called Bad Thing, he was of small body and wore a beard. So maybe me, a few generations ago. I don't know. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll neg myself.
Johnny in a previous life.
I'll neg myself. I don't care.
Have you guys done past lives yet, by the way?
We have not done past lives. That's one I want to do. Is that one you'd be good to come on for?
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I've got a lot of interest in that malarkey. So.
In that malarkey, you're gonna call it malarkey on this show? How dare you?
Everything is malarkey. Malarkey is the best word ever. It's the greatest way to describe anything.
We got another email. Oh, that email was from Carpentgeist. So yeah. We have an email from, what's that? Carpentgeist. Yeah.
Oh, another Jesus connection.
We have another email from the reactionary hippie PhD. And he is, this isn't the one I was supposed to read on the air. I was supposed to tell you guys about this before. I'll do that later. All right, pretend I didn't say that. We're gonna flash. we're gonna flashy thingy you, a la the Men in Black preview. All right, so there's that. Yep. All right, so let's get into the fact that we don't have as much of an internet presence anymore. Johnny Monoxide's Twitter has been showed, as well as the Paranormies Presents Twitter has been showed.
Oh boy, do I know about this, because I'm getting all your messages at the moment.
Are you getting messages now from me? All right, cool.
I am. People keep contacting me asking when you guys are going to return, when the next... I was like, I don't know. I barely do this anymore.
The thing is,
I work for the princess now.
Right? That's true. Well, we can get you to shill for your thing in just a second. But what happened was, Twitter had said that I was doing what they called targeted harassment. And I don't necessarily know exactly what that means, but if that means being mean to Jews on Twitter, then guilty. But so yeah, they IP banned me, so I had to change my IP. I'm working on doing I'm officially IP banned from Twitter. I go to set up a new account from the house, and it's like while I'm setting it up, I get a message: this account has been suspended. I'm like, I literally haven't even finished starting it yet, but okay. They even banned my other guy. Anyway, I gotta I gotta do all that stuff. I set up a new account. Like I was gonna call it like my troll account. It was Stone Cold Steve Auschwitz. That's right. Yeah, it was literally. I went from 0 followers to like 400 followers in like 2 days because like they were like, dude, that's the funniest that's the funniest Twitter persona I've seen, and it got showed like too. So yeah. It's because I posted that video of Stone Cold Steve Austin with Paul Heyman, the big fat Jew from the WWE, where Stone Cold calls him out, and Paul Heyman's like, "What do you want? We're the Jews. We're smart. We own everything." Like, yeah.
Oh man, that was brilliant.
It really was brilliant.
Why is that? Why'd you? why is it with your people?
He's like, "What do you mean? What?" And then Stone Cold's all, "What?" And he's all, "What? What?" Like he called him out, and
while we're on the subject, I recently found footage of... Sorry, not footage. It was like some photos and like some text. But basically, apparently, the Iron Sheik went to a largely Jewish audience and told them that Hitler did nothing wrong.
Ooh.
I always loved the Iron Sheik. He was one of my favorites when I was a kid. Yeah,
he's a Christian as well. I thought he was a kebab, but apparently
he's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Lebanese Christian. Yeah, exactly. And while we're on the subject of Christians. Not Christians. Wrestling. Let me get that straight. While we're on the subject of wrestling, Mr. Greyfield Stray, you have yourself a new show.
I do. If you get the chance, I mean, hell, if you listen to this, you're probably on TRS already, so once you finish with this, go mosey on, check me out. We are the Foreign Hill Fighting Spirit podcast. It's myself and Slug2_ from This Hour Has 88 Minutes. Great show, great guy. Shout out to Slug. And also you can hear me on Flash Britannia as well if you're that way inclined. Because again, it's a great show. We do all of the Brit stuff, and sometimes it's nice to visit Airstrip once in a while, even if it's only on the air. But yeah, it's a great show. I'm having so much fun doing it. We had one of your guys. We had Bradshaw on last week for Elimination Chamber.
Oh God, we had Bradshaw on. Yeah.
We had Bradshaw, and do you know what? He was fairly sober. So we got a good show.
That wasn't the real Bradshaw.
That wasn't the real Bradshaw. That was some sort of yeah, that was that. What do they call him? A jobber? Like what?
Yeah, he was a total jobber. But join us next week. We'll be talking about. Well, actually, I think we're just doing a shitposting episode next. But join us after Fastlane, where you can hear our thoughts on that. So thank you for letting me say my piece. You may continue.
No, thank you. So the Twitter presence is gone for now. I'm gonna figure out that if you goyim know the proxy VPN, how to hide your shit, so they don't shut your Twitter down.
Jewish internet police,
right? Well,
so I should warn you. Twitter have started. We don't know how they're doing it, but we've noticing that certain posters' replies aren't appearing in other feeds. They're essentially trying to isolate us individually. So
Yeah, it seems like it's a weird sort of shadow ban. Yeah, Seven Sun was having an issue with that the other day. I saw that.
Yeah, I've started getting it as well. So just yeah.
Oh no, the Twitter people, you know, that fucking faggot Jack and his crew at Twitter have been full on full court press on the alt-right. One weekend, the weekend I got showed, I had just hit 5,000 followers, and I got it, and like 9 other people I knew got it, and it like, and then and over that was just that Saturday, and then that Sunday and Monday, like another 30 decent size alt-right accounts got shut down. It seems that they're going after people who have, like, you know, more than 1,200 or whatever, 1,000 followers or whatever, but it's people with reach, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is just keep an eye on your friends, obviously. So the only thing that concerns me is, I mean, they're essentially doing this without directly stating they don't want our content here, because they know about the PR backlash. But if we force them to the point, if we keep making new socks, if we keep sort of posting point, eventually, you know, everything's going to come out, and they're essentially just going to start banning randomly, and they're going to fuck up. So I would say just antagonize them and keep going. It's probably the best way to do this, because that's the best outcome we could hope for.
I think it's interesting how Twitter's actually been worse than Facebook has about things. Like, if you say a bad word on Facebook, you know, you'll get banned for like a week or whatever, but they're not like completely shutting people's accounts down.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for a while, Twitter was cool. You could like go full on. You could go full on, like, you know, hardcore against people. But then that whole deal with like Martin Shkreli and what was her name? That Patrick Ewing looking motherfucker that played the Black Ghostbuster in Ghostbusters. Harambe. Yes, Harambe. Yeah. Leslie, what's her face? Yeah, that Leslie Harambe, Patrick Ewing.
Leslie Jones, isn't it?
Who cares? It's not even. It's not her real name. That's her slave name. Who cares? Yeah, it don't matter. Yeah, that whole thing happened, and that's really when they started cracking down on what they consider trolls, where it's perfectly okay for people to spam like gay porn at you. You know, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. But did you say, you know, like, I hope you die of Tay-Sachs, you fucking kike, one time, you know. Can you die of Tay-Sachs? I don't know. Is that a thing?
I have no idea.
I'm
okay,
pretty
cool.
Sure, like,
all right, cool.
What is Tay-Sachs?
It's a Jewish-only disease. It's kind of like, it's one of those things that proves that Jews are a separate race.
Well, what's interesting is, like, in Israel, they are having a problem with that. So there was like a pseudo, it wasn't exactly like a government program, but there was just a eugenics program where couples that were planning to get married, they would submit their DNA to this company or whatever, and then they would get back, they would tell them, oh, either you're compatible and your children like won't get it, or one of you will have it. And they won't say who it is, because like it's recessive, so you won't necessarily, like, if you have the gene, you can just marry someone that doesn't have it.
To be fair, I think DNA tests before a wedding should be, quite frankly, mandatory. But there you go.
But anyway, so like they literally arranged their own eugenics program, and it was actually fairly successful at reducing Tay-Sachs. Like, it's a much less serious problem than it used to be, unfortunately.
Okay.
Interesting. So
eugenics are cool if it's good for the Jews.
That's right. Yeah. So the company you're talking about is what, 23andMe? So they got my DNA too. I'm joking.
Yeah.
All right. So we're So Twitter, God. Anyways, they're shutting down.
Partially owned by a Saudi prince. Twitter.
It is. Is it the same Saudi prince that owns like part of Fox News or something? Is that the same? Is that the same guy? Okay. So we don't have a Twitter presence anymore, but we do have a Facebook presence, and that is the Paranormies presents the Ahnenerbe Hour. And we have the Gmail, which is paranormiespresent@gmail.com. And if you wish to donate, that is also paranormiespresent@gmail.com. And speaking of donations...
I have a Google Plus account, too.
Oh, for the Paranormies?
Google Plus? No, not really.
Oh, god damn it.
Speaking of the Facebook page, by the way, thank you so much for keeping my Akala Beth head-up image. I freaking love that image. So.
That's a great image, dude. I like it. All right, so we got a $50 donation from Anon Commando. Thanks, Anon Commando. We got from Fash Daddy. We did not forget about you, buddy. I don't know what happened. He donated, and then he donated again. He's like, I don't know if you got the first one, but here's more money. So he donated $14.88, and he donated. Oh, I'm sorry. That was. Oh, I screwed up. He donated $14.88, and he donated $20, and that was Fash Daddy.
Fash Daddy treated us so good.
Right. And Dan, and then from Charles, we received $14.88 and $13. So a double donation. So if we had forgotten about you, we are sorry, Goyam. We appreciate the donations. It is going towards making sure we can stay on SoundCloud.
Hotel shandies, that sort of thing.
Hotel shandies. It was open bar at TR WrestleMania, so we didn't have to use any donations for drinking.
Nice.
Yeah, can I just say that TR WrestleMania, this is our first episode since TR WrestleMania, and that's... Did you guys listen? Did you guys listen to the shit show that I posted? That was episode 30.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Did you even edit it?
No. You guys didn't see it was like unedited nationalism is what I posted it as or something? There was no editing. Like, you couldn't hear shit. It's like me going, what? Okay, yeah, yeah, nope, all right. See! Anyways, yeah, so it's pretty much. And then Adam and the problem was we didn't have monitors, we didn't have headphones, so none of us could hear what any of the others were saying. And I'd also like to thank from Nationalist Public Radio, the War Room, and the Northwest Imperative, Mr. Jeffrey Fairwater, for coming on and helping out with that little bit. That was cool. Jeff's a good dude. Anyways, yeah, so like. Yeah, we couldn't hear anything that was going on, and
yeah, we were basically screaming at each other.
It was the first night of Mania, and I want to say that was my most sober night. And Adam and Death were the two that were drunk that night, which is fine. It is totally fine. And yeah, it was great. Adam had
that recording. I don't really remember.
Yeah, dude, you had like 2 beers. It's so cute. No. Crying Mad Wojak.
They were both Miller Lights.
No, it wasn't Miller. Well, of course they were Miller Lights. The best beer. Scott, tell us about Miller Lite.
Stalker or whatever.
Hold on. Scott, tell us about Miller Lite.
Well, I don't know what there is to say. I mean, it's the best beer. Like, how do I elaborate on how good Miller Lite is? It's just the best beer.
That's all you need to say.
That's all you need to say. Of the Paranormies.
Yeah, the official beer of the Paranormies is Miller Lite. But no, what we were drinking at TR WrestleMania was Shinerbach, the official beer of the alt-right. Shiner is made in Texas. Shinerbach is what they had. We had the best bartenders. They were both fashy. They were from the Austin Pool Party Group. I believe they're both members of Identity Europa. There was it was such a great weekend. If you guys didn't make it, you suck. But
oh, thank you.
Well, hey, dude, you
on my show and then insult me.
You were supposed to be in Japan at the time. So
I know.
Yeah. Next TR WrestleMania, if you don't make it, we're gonna have to. I don't know. You're gonna have to make it.
We're all gonna.
We're definitely gonna make it. I mean, Kathy wants Fash Britannia to have a presence there, so where that happens, we're gonna make it.
Yeah, there was a lot of of course the Showa, Mike and Sven. The War Room was there. Nationalist Public Radio, Mr. Fairwater was there. The Paranormies were there. Exodus Americanus was there. Wooderson and Stone and White Power Ranger. There was a live recording of the Young Whites, which all of us came and did a drunk drive-by and said hello. That was great. DeMarcus was there from Intersectional Alt-Right, even though that's no longer a thing. Still love him to death. There was a lot of... Dude. Yeah, DeMarcus was I was really glad to have met DeMarcus. There's a few guys. There's a lot. All right, we're not going to tear WrestleMania post. All right, stop. All right, make myself. So, we did all the... Have we gotten all the clerical stuff out of the way, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else?
I think so.
All right. So, tonight's episode, episode 1, season 2, we're going to talk about the Men in Black. And I don't mean Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones from the movie, even though the movie was created because of the presence of the actual Men in Black. That's what Hollywood does. They find a phenomenon and they make a movie about it so you can laugh about it, you know? So.
Oh, it's just a movie, Goy. What are you talking about?
It's just a movie.
It's completely fake, you know, like Schindler's List or
Schindler's List was fake. I mean, that's the whole, like, you know.
You'd be amazed about people who think it's a documentary.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, thanks to Seinfeld, you know. Thanks to Seinfeld, they think it is. Hey, Adam, how you liking your jiu-jitsu introduction?
I don't like it.
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Yeah, no. I had Adam check out the Red Ice Hollywoodism.
Oh my fucking God, it's awful.
Yeah, it's literally a Talmudic indoctrination.
46 minutes of I'm Jewish, I'm Jewish, I'm Jewish, I'm Jewish.
Yeah,
from just all sorts of different TV shows, from movies. It's
pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Some powerful Judaism.
It just goes to show you how, you know, like I was talking on the Discord last night with some of the... Was it last night that I said... Was it, Adam, that you started watching it last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, you guys don't even understand. Like, 80% of the United States has never met a Jew in real life. But they know everything there is to know about Judaism. Why? Because Seinfeld. Because The Simpsons. Because this show. Because that movie. Because this movie. Well, what Red Ice did... And Henrik at Red Ice, you know, one of my IRL heroes, and who we also one of our guests this season, has put together like it's like almost like a Talmudic education that the Jews have put into Hollywood media, and that actually might even be a great topic for another episode. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just an open conspiracy.
Yeah, it really
is. Stuff on the forward, you know, these Jewish letters that are just openly talking about, oh yeah, of course Jews run Hollywood.
Is it really a conspiracy if it's fucking obvious?
But the thing is it's not obvious to those 80% of the people that have never actually met a Jew.
Well, then they need to stop being idiots.
We're working on it. It's a long project.
Yeah.
Educate faster. Sort it out. Christ.
All right, Men in Black.
Men in Black.
The Men in Black. The Men in Black come from the UFO conspiracy world, right?
Kind of, sort of. Well, all right. How should we start this? Because supposedly the Men in Black have actually shown up before UFOs were a thing. They're isolated reports, but basically. They're most commonly known for their association with UFOs or any sort of like strangeness that happens along those lines. Basically, the Men in Black tend to show up to witnesses or abductees or anyone who kind of was in the area. And it seems like, well, no one really knows what they want. But it seems like their overarching goal is basically to prevent people from talking about their UFO experiences or from like writing books or any of that sort of thing. So basically, they're these not quite human. People describe them in different ways. Like they'll appear sickly. It's one of those things. Like if you see them on the street, you would know like something's off with this guy. they don't have like horns growing out of their forehead or anything like that. But the closest thing I can think of as a parallel is if anyone's ever played the XCOM games, there's like a Men in Black character in there, and it's like these little scrawny type creatures. Basically, they're bug-eyed, they're very pale, they talk in kind of a weird accent, or they'll talk in a strange manner where they'll put like the emphasis on the wrong syllables in the word. Another thing they'll do is they'll go inside your house. And so let's say, if I just make up a story here of like a typical abduction situation or UFO sighting situation, it's like, say someone sees a UFO as they're driving along and they watch it, maybe they film it, they do whatever. They go back to their house, and then, a few hours later, a few days later, they'll get a knock on their door. And at this point, it gets kind of weird because they've been described as, people who have had encounters with Men in Black have described the initial knock as feeling like they were compelled to answer the door. Almost like there was some sort of mind control type thing or some sort of extrasensory persuasion. So, say the guy goes to the door, he opens it, and you know how in vampire stories and legends they're not allowed in unless you give them permission to come in?
Yeah, right. Everybody knows, from the, you gotta give them permission, otherwise they can't come in. There was in one of the movies, like The Lost Boys, well, aren't you going to invite me in?
Yeah, basically. So Men in Black are kind of similar. They'll say, hey, can we come in? But like I said, these people don't have all their wits about them, basically. So they'll say, yeah, sure, that's fine. They come inside, and sometimes they'll see, like, I don't know, like if they see like a tennis ball on the ground or something, they'll be like really confused by the tennis ball. Like just normal everyday objects that you wouldn't think are weird. They'll see and they'll like pick it up and kind of like, what the fuck is this? I remember reading one story about one of them found, I think it was a ballpoint pen or something along those lines, and they tried to steal it as they were leaving because they thought it was like this strange technology.
Well, so maybe he needs to write a note, you never know.
Yeah.
Ask him, did you?
Yeah. So
that's why E.T. was obsessed with the phone. I guess.
Yeah. So they'll start interrogating these people about what they saw. And this can go on from anywhere from, a couple minutes to like hours. And they'll basically, have them tell their story over and over again. And they'll usually, well, I shouldn't say usually, but sometimes the person whose house it's at, like halfway through, will realize, holy shit, this is the weirdest fucking thing ever. Like suddenly kind of, the veil's been lifted from their eyes and they realize how weird it is, and it'll freak them out. And sometimes the Men in Black will, I guess, do this on purpose. I'm not really sure. There was one story I read about a UFO researcher who, I think he was writing a book or something along those lines. And he was visited by the Men in Black. And they were talking to him, and one of them said something to the effect of like, you have 36 cents in your pocket. I want you to pull it out. And the guy's like, okay. So he pulls it out, and he's holding his hand. And as he's looking at this change in his pocket, like one of the quarters or something like turns into this weird translucent metallic liquid type thing and disappears. Yeah. And the Men in Black are like, so you know who so-and-so is? And I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but they're like, you know who so-and-so is? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, well, that's what happened to his heart when he died a couple months ago.
Oosh.
And
yeah, he said, actually what the guy said was, it was the guy, that Men in Black asked the guy whose last name was Hopkins. He's like, are you familiar with the alleged abductee whose name was Barney Hill? And he said he had heard of Hill, but he was under the impression that he died. And so the Men in Black informed him that he was correct. And he said, Barney didn't have a heart, just like you no longer have a coin. And yeah.
That's so fucking creepy. Guys,
right? Oh, yeah. So like he went and burned all the files that were related to anything that were like, yeah.
Dude, I would have too. Shit.
Kill it with fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a slight exaggeration though, because Barney actually died of a brain hemorrhage. So, yeah.
Well, maybe.
Right, yeah. No, he did die of a brain, but still, like, the fact that we'll just call them MIBs for the rest of the episode. The fact that are we gonna go MIB? Are we gonna do that? Are we gonna meme
I like MIB.
Scott?
Fine.
I don't care.
It's not intimidating enough.
All right. MIB.
I said like MIB.
Yeah, you have to say it.
We call it the MIB. All right. Anyways, so there's a lot of stories about this Men in Black stuff.
Yeah,
there's
Hopkins, the rest of that story from Hopkins, if we want to talk about it later, is also very odd.
Let's talk about it now.
Like,
why do we have to talk about it later? Let's talk about it now.
Another thing that gets brought up a lot is that they drive black Cadillacs is common in stories. Not every story, but they so they drive these luxury cars that are in immaculate condition, and every time the plates are run, they find out the VIN. It's like it's not registered, like it doesn't exist basically. And so for Hopkins. What was it? Here we go. I've got the text of the story here. So, like, the guy called him, the MIB, and was like, "Hey, can I come over?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then the guy was immediately at his porch. And this was in 1976, which they didn't have, like cell phones then the same way we do now. So it's like, how the hell did this guy get here? And Hopkins didn't see a car. But then later, when he left, when the MIB left, he saw a bright light in the driveway. Hopkins saw that through the window and just assumed that it was the car, because he was in that like confused, suggestive state. And then he went outside and there was marks on the driveway, but not in a place where the tires would have been. And later, the mark just disappeared. And I think other people even saw the mark. Like his family saw it, and then the mark vanished.
It's interesting. You mentioned the black Cadillacs. That reminded me when we were talking earlier. I was talking about how they supposedly have shown up before the UFO phenomenon really took off. Supposedly, Men in Black were showing up in the Middle Ages, but they were visiting alchemists instead of UFO witnesses. And the common get-up or suit or whatever that they wore then would be the plague doctor, which I don't know if you know what I'm talking about when I say plague doctor. It's like those guys with the long beak masks. And instead of black Cadillacs, they would often have these black horses. So it seems like whatever the phenomena is, there's some kind of commonalities, even though, the surface details are changed. For whatever reason, they always have black vehicles. They always have like the dress of the time. And they kind of talk in the same manner and things like that.
It's interesting you bring up the alchemy thing, because that alone presents a possible explanation for the Hopkins story. Let's say they, during the alchemy period, we'll say the Middle Ages, one of these horse guys picked up on a alchemist who was working with sodium potassium based alloys. Now, those are actually liquid at room temperature. Now, say they turn it into a coin, somehow slip it into Hopkins' pocket, then go, they're already forward in time at this point, so, my narrative's completely off the wall, whatever I do. Come out, palm the coin, it melts in front of him, and he's spooked. Just saying.
See, okay, here's the thing. I don't think so, and the reason I don't think so is because if you are a part of some sort of group that's lasted for hundreds of years and you're probably not human, you can probably just make a fucking coin melt.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Or if they're already messing with his mind, it could have just been a hallucination.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, that's also a possibility.
And there's so many things that it could be. I mean, it could be some sort of a, like an MK Ultra program, or I don't know, who knows.
It was solar flares.
Solar flares. Totally solar flares. Totally solar flares.
I love the amount of phenomena that's put down to solar flares.
Swamp gas.
It was swamp gas. The swamp gas is turning the frogs gay. God.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
All right. I love that. That's the best. That's the best part of that drop. Was the he's just punching the whatever the book he's got in his hand. So, another story. I mean, there's so many stories about these men in black. You know, there's a guy named Paul Miller who was coming home from a hunting trip. Saw a disc land in a field. His two humanoids got out. He fired his gun at them, and he thought he shot it. And then he got in his car and drove the fuck off. Well, he realized that what seemed like a minute, it realized he had lost 3 hours, and he shrugged it off and went back to his Air Force job. Why do they always have a military job? Anyways, so he got when he got to work, he was accosted by 3 men in black suits who told them that they had his file. Even though he told nobody about anything that happened the night before, they said they had knew all about it and mentioned the encounter would be best to be forgotten. This is a quote from Miller. It says, "They seem to know everything about me, where I worked, my name, everything else. They also asked questions about his experiences as if they already knew the answers." Being terrified by 3 men in black suits at his job who knew something about something that literally he was the only person who knew about. He never came forward with this story for years. That's kind of another common theme is that the people that talk about this, it's always 10, 15 years later when they're finally okay with it. Because that's got to be... That's got to be really spooky. Do you guys, I don't remember the name of the show, but there used to be this sci-fi show where they had these things called Watchers. And they're always trying to catch the Watchers. And I don't remember what it was, but the Watchers were always
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's a different kind of Watcher.
Stop it.
I wasn't even kidding. I was
Buffy. Well, no, maybe, I don't know. But they were always dressed in a black suit. It was the typical Men in Black, the black suit, the black bowler hat, and they had very white skin, almost no eyebrows, and they would be there for every sort of event, and then you'd see them, and then you'd look again, and they were gone.
Yeah.
I don't remember what show that was, or if it was a movie. If any of you going who are listening would know and could tell me, that'd be great. Yeah. But I feel that
subject of shows, we should probably mention the Dan Aykroyd situation. That one was pretty recent in
was he trying to make a documentary or something?
Yeah, he was making a documentary on the Men in Black, actually, right?
Yeah. He basically was doing it was a show about the paranormal, very similar to what we do here, but he came forward with a story about how he was taping the show for the paranormal. He stepped out to take a phone call from Britney Spears, of all people, so she's in on it. I'm already way ahead of you. Explains a lot. She clearly is an idler male, who was making him appear on Saturday Night Live with her, when he noticed a black Ford, here we go again, parked across the street. A tall man stepped out of the Ford and stared him down. Aykroyd turned away for a moment, then turned back to find that the man and the car had completely vanished. After he finished his phone call, he returned to his studio to learn that his show had been cancelled and that he was ordered to stop filming immediately. Some doubt his claim, but Aykroyd says he knew what he saw and maintains that there was some kind of connection between his MIB at the end of his paranormal show.
Well, so, I actually, I have a confession. I sent those MIBs because he was going to take over the Paranormies spot. So, no, that's actually really creepy. The creepiest part of that whole story is that he stepped out to take a phone call from Britney Spears.
Well, do you know what this means, though? Because this is Hollywood, which means these Men in Black are confirmed Jewish if they have some sort of control over the recording.
Huh.
Apparently.
We did it. It took us, hold on. We did it. Well, we did talk about Jews earlier, but actually into the recording, we are 40 minutes into the recording, and we have mentioned Jews in relation to the topic. And I did say at Tier WrestleMania that we were not doing any topics that don't involve those people. I'm probably wrong, but
Well, that's because there are no topics that don't involve those people.
I think that's why they call it a chosen subject.
Well, it's like that meme that I love. It's the word everything, and then behind it is a bunch of Jews. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the best meme ever. All right, back to the Men in Black.
I want to take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the sources that we've been using for research says, well, just according to these guys, that the Men in Black, like the origin of that, idea basically goes back to this guy Albert K. Bender, who had an organization that he called the International Flying Saucer Bureau, which is kind of a lofty name considering, they had like a couple hundred readers. But, I like the ambition. He had a publication called The Space Review that just spread news about flying saucers. And so back in 1953, in the October edition, he just suddenly sent out this bulletin.
Okay.
And I'll just read the text of it. It said, late bulletin. A source which the IFSB considers very reliable has informed us that the investigation of the flying saucer mystery and the solution is approaching its final stages. The same source to whomst, no, just kidding, to whom we had referred data, which had come into our possession, suggested that it was not the proper method and time to publish the data in Space Review. And then below that, it said, statement of importance. The mystery of the flying saucers is no longer a mystery. The source is already known, but any information about this is being withheld by order from a higher source. We would like to print the full story in Space Review, but because of the nature of the information, we are very sorry that we have been advised in the negative. And then he finishes it up with, we advise those engaged in saucer work to please be very cautious. And they dissolved the whole thing.
Fair enough.
And then later on, he let me see here. Okay, yeah. So 10 years later, in 1963, he started talking about what happened. He wrote a book called Flying Saucers and the Three Men in Black. And it was kind of a rambling, incoherent book, but he started to elaborate on the Men in Black and that sort of thing. And he talked about three beautiful women dressed in tight white uniforms. They had glowing eyes, these kind of things.
Was he in a nursing home at this point?
I don't know about that one.
Because I'm thinking women, uniform, put the glowing eyes down to dementia. I'm saying.
But like I said, according to this source, that was the origin of the Men in Black myth. I think it's interesting that this sort of archetype had been appearing before. I don't know if Albert Bender would have been aware of that and sort of memed that, into reality.
Interesting.
But that seems to be like the 53 was kind of where things really started kicking off. You started getting a lot more exposure, a lot more stories about abductions and that sort of thing. But that could also just be because of the acceleration of media and information sharing. I don't know.
Interesting. So, have you guys ever heard like a description of what the Men in Black, what they look like, what they sound like, what they're like?
Yeah, curiously, I'm seeing a lot of descriptions of them looking like Orientals or gypsies.
Yeah.
Gypsies could drive cars that nice.
No gypsies. Yeah, right. What was that, Scott?
I said they stole the cars.
Yeah.
Well, they're gypsies, therefore stolen car. Yeah. No, it's like they're always
destroy the cars.
This is true. Well, they're often described having olive complexions, like an Asian or gypsy. Their eyes are always kind of strange, sometimes glowing. They're always wearing black suits, black hats, sunglasses. Sometimes their clothes seems to be made of something that's not like normal material. They speak in kind of a monotonous mechanical tone, sometimes with an accent that you just can't place. They say that their sentence structure and like their choice of words is just weird. Like they use like just a weird word for something that you would, like whatever, you know what I mean?
Sounds like the Welsh.
Fair. It's a fair cop. They say they usually travel in groups of 2 and 3. And they usually, it's usually if there's a UFO witness, that's who usually gets visited by them. They're very interested in these UFO witnesses, and they almost always warn them to not, don't report the encounter. They often, they claim to represent some sort of government agency who probably doesn't exist. They almost always have ID. They flash an ID like the bad. You guys have seen the freaking movie, right? With the Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, the Men in Black. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They got the flashy thingy that they flashy thingy you so you forget stuff. I don't know if that's true or not, but those who have encountered the Men in Black have recalled memory loss. Yeah.
That's funny. Recalled memory loss.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, you can recall having periods of blanks.
I understand. I just think.
Trust me, Adam. I recall the memory loss from last Saturday night. So. And there were no men in black. There were no black men either, which was great. I
think what's interesting is the encounters sometimes, but not always. But it's kind of like an uncommon thing that they'll threaten violence. Like one of the stories in July 1967, Robert Richardson from Toledo. Apparently there's a group called the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, ARPO, probably not related to the dog food brand at all, but he hit a UFO with his car. He was coming.
Holy shit! Is that covered by insurance?
He came around a bend. There was an object in the road. He couldn't stop in time, but he slowed down a lot, so he didn't hit it very hard. And so he went back later. They only found the skid marks from his tires, but when he went with the police, but this guy Richardson, he went back and he found a chunk of metal later. So then 3 days after he found that chunk of metal and took it home, 2 men in their 20s showed up at his house, and they were doing their questioning thing. Interestingly, they didn't identify themselves, but this case also had that sort of like hypnotic thing where he didn't think that was weird. He just, voluntarily gave them all this information without thinking about the context of it. And then he said that they left in a Cadillac.
Which, as I might point out, Cadillac is not a Ford, but, it's always some sort of nice, big, black Lincoln Town Car-esque Cadillac, Ford, Grand, whatever.
Yeah, and so, so in that visit, they didn't like threaten him or anything. They weren't unfriendly, anything like that. Then a week later, he got another visit from 2 guys who showed up in a Dodge that was more current model. They were also, they had the black suits, they had the olive complexion, and they tried to convince him that he didn't hit anything at all. But then they asked for the piece of metal back, and he said they sent it out for analysis, and they said, if you want your wife to stay as pretty as she is, then you'd better get the metal back.
Holy shit, really? They threatened his wife.
And the thing is, Richardson and his wife and the people he sent at ARPO, or APRO, what the hell, I think I have dyslexia or whatever. Anyway, nobody else, he didn't tell anybody else about it. And so, how would they know about it?
Weird.
Very strange. Very unnerving, actually.
Yeah, it's very unnerving. I'm like, I don't know. Hold on. What'd you say, Scott? You got all gurgly.
I was just saying, how do they... Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, how the fuck do they know these things?
That's the thing. They're the Men in Black. Like, they know stuff. Now it's a really weird phenomena. It is a phenomena. Like, it's not a normal thing that happens. Oh man.
Yeah. What's interesting is a lot, like, from the various threats of violence, there is no documented case of that being carried out. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But
no, we wouldn't have found out, would we? If they can dissolve coins, imagine what they can do to a freaking human body.
Right. Well, I think it'd be interesting, like, people that reported it just suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, a lot of people tend to disappear around these guys, people, things, whatever they are.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to suddenly disappear either. Excuse me. It could be the case where, they kind of mysteriously died young, Like, I know there was a couple UFO researchers who did die mysteriously like that. And actually, wasn't there one guy just not too long ago, like a few months ago?
I don't know about a few months ago, but one of the Ancient Aliens guys passed away of a weird heart attack at a very young age.
There was a guy, a paranormal researcher of some sort. I wish I could remember his name. This happened a few months ago. He was in, I want to say, like Italy or somewhere. And basically he had texted his mom saying, if anything happens to me, please investigate because it wasn't a natural death. And then a couple days later, he was found dead. Now, I don't know if he's a UFO researcher or what. I don't know.
I think I've got it here. Is it Gaurav Tiwari? Is that the fella?
That beats the shit out of me. I have no idea.
Apparently, yeah, it says Gaurav Tiwari, paranormal investigator, dies of asphyxia in bathroom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
How old was he?
It's all over the Googles when I look it up. So yeah, I guess it must be this guy. But he's a Indian paranormal investigator. So yeah,
I don't know if that was the guy. That's the thing. I've heard several stories about this sort of thing happening. Paranormal investigators just kind of dying for whatever reason. So,
what's funny is
they
had it's a fake news thing, but I was looking up the Ancient Aliens thing. They said Giorgio Silikos died. It's too bad. That his hair would never allow that.
Yeah.
But Phil Coppens, one of the authors that's on Ancient Aliens, he died of a strange heart attack in 2012.
Whoa.
He was one of the researchers that was into like the Star Child theory and all that stuff. Yeah. But it's weird how apparent. Go ahead, Scott. What?
I was just gonna say I'd like to see someone do some sort of like statistical analysis to see if paranormal researchers actually do die younger on average than the rest of the population. I mean, I know there's all these weird cases, but if you take a sample of 100 people in the population, a couple of them are gonna die weird like that, regardless.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen there's that show like 1,000 Ways to Die or whatever. It's on Spike. And it's always got like the weirdest shit, like died at a strip club because a stripper fell off the stage and her heel spiked you in the eye, whatever.
He choked to death on a bra or something like that.
Yeah, something stupid like you went to a swimming pool and swallowed a fly and choked it while jumping off the dumb shit. Yeah. Weird things happen. People die of weird deaths all the time, but it seems that like the paranormal experts that die, it's like always in the middle of an investigation or right as they're putting together the paper, the final paper on the investigation or whatever.
Yeah.
But wow. Well, we have blown through the first hour. That was pretty quick. I mean, like, not even joking. That's literally an hour. I don't even have to fluff this up for a few minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to come back with some more Men in Black and maybe some other weird tales of strangers around UFOs or whatever.
Before we go into the break, because you're playing one of my songs, can I plug my album quickly?
Yeah, I was going to get to that part. I swear.
Yay. Cool.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, since Greyfield has joined us again for the first episode of season 1, and this is like the first episode, first episode of season 2. It's like the first episode of season 1 where you were on too. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. and we are going to have one of his songs. And Gray, why don't you go ahead and promote your song and tell us what we're going to listen to, and then your album. Okay,
right. So you're going to be listening to a track called Bastion, which is it's basically an anti-white genocide song. Basically, this is the most political song on the album, quite frankly. It's the album's out in March 15th. It's called Alive in a Ghost Town. It's a good mix of basically a few different styles of things, but it's a bit different to what you've heard with the previous two. So please go out and buy that, and just that'd be cool. Thank you.
Nice. All right.
Very, English politeness.
So much politeness in there. All right, so we are going to listen to Greyfield's song, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Look them in the eyes until you see their whites. The callous looks mean genocide, but we will stand and fight. 'Cause there's no fear this time. No fear this time. And by the sword we'll live and die in this our crystal night. There's no fear this time. We've a right to be alive. Live on as a slave. The hope inside our children's eyes, it must not go to waste. And if I call thy name, will you stand with me to face the fire and the flames, the bullet rain that blots the night? 'Cause there's no fear this time. No fear this time. And by the sword we'll live and die in this our crystal night. There's no fear this time. We've a right to be alive. We will exist, and we will thrive. No longer are we fooled. Rebuild a castle walls, moat it to the riverside, and watch the vampires fall. 'Cause there's no fear this time. No fear this time. And by the sword we'll live or die in this our crystal night.
All right, everybody, we are back. This is still the Paranormies presents the Ahnenerbe Hour. I am still Johnny Monoxide with Adam Haidt, Scott Taylor, and Greyfield Stray. We're talking about the Men in Black.
While we're on the subject, during the break, it was quite terrifying. I went down to take a leak, and there was a knock at the door, and then there were two men in black suits there. They
Jesus!
looked me in the eye.
Hold on, what time is it over there? What time is it over there?
It's like 2 a.m., but that doesn't matter.
Jesus Christ!
And this is why they looked me. He looked me dead in the eye, and in a cold voice, he said, "Have you renewed your TV license?"
Oh Jesus God! The cable guys showed up at 2 a.m.
It's the BBC, man. They gotta get their shekels.
That's actually. That's. I think that's more scary, actually. Like, pay for your television, goy. It's fucking scary. Did they have curly sideburns and like flat hats? Is that what's going on?
Oh yeah, I handed them the papers and they were like, "This is for black and white TV, son. You're coming with us." But fortunately, I escaped through the underground tunnels, which secret to everyone.
You have on your porch.
Yeah, of course. In my castle, we all live in a castle, don't you know? Queens.
You had to like walk past them to get into the tunnel.
How'd they get past remote?
I didn't say they were competent. Okay.
Okay, everybody. All right, one at a time. Hey, one at a time, guys. This is a recording. It's going to sound like.
Well, speaking of competence, that's actually a common theme in the encounters, are relatively common, where the men in black appear to be like weird and incompetent in their like dealings with people. Like we mentioned earlier, they don't really understand like simple household objects. One story, which is a very, very strange one, from 1976 as well, just after Hopkins' visit, actually. Actually, holy shit, this story is even better. His daughter-in-law, Dr. Hopkins' daughter-in-law, was visited a few days after Hopkins was. And his daughter-in-law, Maureen, got a call from someone who claimed to know her husband and asked if they would visit, like if him, the MIB, and a companion could visit the Hopkins. So they met him at a fast food restaurant and brought them home for some reason. And it was an MIB, and this woman was with him too. And she also looked really weird. Her like where her legs joined her hips seemed like wrong, and they walked with really short steps. They were like leaning forward, like they were scared of falling over or something like that. Like a really very careful walk, like they didn't really know how. So they got back to John and Maureen's place and sat on their sofa and just started asking a bunch of weird pictures. Like, did they watch television? Did they read stuff? What do they like to talk about? And the whole time, the guy, the MIB, was like petting his female companion. Was like asking if they was doing it right. So John left the room for a little bit, and the MIB tried to get his wife to sit next to him, and then asked how she was made and whether she had any like nude pictures. And then they pretty much left like as suddenly as they came. The woman just stood up and said she wanted to leave. The MIB got up but didn't immediately leave. And then finally the woman said, like, listen, we gotta go. And then they just left, like, in a beeline for the door. They didn't even say goodbye or anything like that. They just disappeared.
Sounds like an amazing night out, I'll say that.
I'm not really even sure what to make of that story. Like, it definitely wasn't just weirdos. Like, why would they target the Hopkins?
Right, yeah, of course.
But why would the Hopkins invite them back?
You say that, though. Considering, I would imagine as this was Hopkins' daughter-in-law, his name must have carried some sort of reputation in the ufology thing. They could have just been very stone fans.
Well, it was a few days later.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting.
Yeah, it's but like the inability to like interact normally, so to speak, is a pretty common theme within the visitation stories.
Yeah, they seem very socially awkward. Like,
yeah, they seem like they don't have, you know, like there's been stories of where somebody's been interviewed by an MIB at a restaurant, and it orders a steak, like while it's talking, but it doesn't understand how to eat it, like doesn't know how to use a knife and fork. You know, they're very awkward. And the reason being is, well, they're not human. You know, they don't have.
Yeah, I remember one of them ordered a soup or something and tried to like eat it with their hands.
Yeah. I've read a few stories. About them doing things in restaurants where they meet up with somebody, but you know, like they.
Green story.
I'm sorry, what?
That's like some green tech story on 4chan.
Oh yeah, it's totally some green tech. Well, some people, there's some people who believe that the MIBs are some sort of human alien hybrid who are kind of keeping, they're kind of keeping the lid on the alien presence here on the Earth.
We could go another 3 hours on like hybrid shit.
Do you guys want to do that now, or?
One thing that Adam was talking about reminded me how there are a lot of, well, not a lot, but there are encounters with women in black as well. They're not as common as the men in black, but their MO is a little different because usually the men in black will claim to be from like some sort of government agency.
Okay, time out, Scott, time out. You're starting to sound like shit, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It sounds fine to me. It might be just a hiccup on your end.
Yeah, because everyone else has sounded fine this whole time to me. So.
All right, no, it just started with you. It just started with you just now. So,
is it still doing it?
Yeah, it's like.
I can't hear
hearing it from any of you guys.
That's weird.
All right, and our internet shit out. Probably mine, but where were we? We were talking about the hybrids or something, Scott.
Yeah, we were talking about hybrids, and then I wanted to get into the whole women in black thing.
Oh, right, yes, the women in black. Yeah, go ahead with that.
So it's not as common as the men in black, but there have been reported cases of women in black showing up as well, and one of the main differences between them and the men in black is the men in black will say from some random government agency that no one's ever heard of, or they'll say they're from like the FBI or whatever. The women in black tend to claim to be from Child Protective Services, which I guess is a government agency as well, but that seems to be the common theme. Is I'll always be like, "Oh, we're from Child Protective Services."
That's kind of crazy.
Talk to you about what you saw with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is they tend to threaten children more as well. Whereas the men in black will kind of, make veiled threats towards you. The women in black will be like, "Oh, what about your kids?" And that's kind of how they get people to shut up. So it's not as common
that's actually,
for whatever reason. But
that's actually worse. That's more fucked up, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Like veiled threats against your children by a fucking Child Protective Services person. Like you might lose your talk about this. No, it's almost. I'm guarantee you, it's always if you talk about this, you might jeopardize custody of your child. Yeah, it's got to be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's terrifying.
Yeah, right? No, and angering, triggery for me because I have the kid. So yeah, that would be. Man, so do you have any stories of this like women in black thing, or did you just want to bring it up to make me mad?
No, I don't have any specific stories, unfortunately, because this was just one of those things that I read about. So I don't have any.
Are you sure you read about it? Are you sure? What did you read it in? What did you read it in?
I read it in that link I sent all you guys before the show.
Are you sure it was a link? Are you sure it wasn't nothing?
I'm fairly certain it was
I saw my opportunity and I took it.
He set it up all by himself. That's ladies and gentlemen, Greyfield Stray. Oh, glad to have you back, buddy. That was good.
Thank you.
The bands start. It gets hot and heavy and starts almost immediately. Yeah, but no, like the women in black come, and again, it's after some sort of a sighting or something, and they come and they threaten your children.
Kind of thing. Basically the only real difference is a couple of supposedly women showing up to your house instead of supposedly men.
That's crazy.
Also, another one that I assume everyone listening is familiar with the black-eyed children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the black-eyed children are a whole other phenomenon that's super creepy.
I haven't heard about that one.
But, okay, do you guys want to explain it, or I can explain it?
No, you go ahead and explain it, because I thought we were just doing Men in Black, so I have like 47 tabs pulled up on Men in Black, not a single one on the...
I'm just watching the movie in the background and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so black-eyed kids, basically, they are kids who show up to people's houses, and again, asking to be let in. They'll usually say something like, we need to call our parents or something like that. They'll be asked to be let in. And the person at the door doesn't see anything wrong with it. And then just like that, they'll suddenly realize, holy fuck, these kids have no irises. Like, their eyes are totally black. The whites of their eyes are black. The pupil, like, everything is black.
Mm-hmm.
And usually about the exact same instance that they realize that, they'll get this feeling of like overwhelming panic and dread and fear. And they'll basically, every story I've read tends to kind of follow the same pattern. And usually after they realize that, these kids have black eyes, they'll be like, no, go away, fuck off. They'll slam the door. And then the kids will leave. Well, supposedly, I wish I had this specific example to like link to you guys or something, but supposedly there's some sort of association between these black-eyed kids and the women in black, where they've kind of been seen together.
What?
So maybe there's something to it, maybe there's not, I don't know, but I think it's interesting how there's these same patterns that crop up over and over again.
Maybe it's like a Lady Hawk situation where they're like looking for each other but can never find each other.
No, it's not that they're looking for each other. They'll be spotted together.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
Yeah. The thing about the black-eyed children is it actually comes from it's not even that old. It's like from like 1998. From some Texas reporter on this ghost-related mailing list. Yeah, in Abilene, Texas, in '96. So, like, there was another person 2 years later who had an unrelated encounter in Portland, Oregon. They pretty much the children, the black-eyed children comes from like basically like the original creepypastas. Like, that's like the legends of them,
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. The black-eyed children thing is pretty freaking freaky. I've read a few stories about it, but I don't know that isn't just stories. I don't know. Are there? I mean, because I haven't really done a lot of research on the black-eyed children.
If I may.
Yeah, please do.
If I may, they've recently appeared in Britain as recently as 2014. The Daily Star ran 3 sensationalistic front-page stories about alleged sightings of them, which led to the sale of a supposedly haunted pub in Staffordshire. That's as recently as then.
Wait, they led to a haunted pub?
Oh no. Okay, so
I guess they sold the pub because there was hauntings there.
Well, apparently the haunting was just something they did for the tourists, but apparently the owners sold because of constant visits from these black-eyed children.
Huh.
Yeah.
I would have just told them, listen, it's a pub. You got to grow up and get old enough to drink. Like, I don't know. I guess the black-eyed kids don't take no for answer.
You may be aliens, but I'm not losing my license.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I get the sports package because of that. No. Man, so Scott, you said that there was some sort of tie to the women in black. I guess I could see that, but back to the men in black. Do we have any more? Are we done with the men in black for tonight? Are we like what's going on? Did we skip ahead to another subject?
I don't know. What do we want to? Do you guys have anything else?
I don't know. Does anybody have anything else on the Men in Black? Or are we just going to, like, shitpost about...
I think we've pretty much covered it. It's a fairly sort of limited subject, really. Because, I mean, no matter what the story is, it's going to pretty much end the same way, right?
Well...
basically, I mean, we can talk about different case studies or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not like we're going to suddenly, stumble upon the truth of what the Men in Black are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we can speculate.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is that not everybody that has reported a UFO sighting has been visited. Like, Johnny, don't you have a sighting story?
I have a sighting story from when I was a kid. Yeah, I was like 6 years old. My mom and I and my brother were coming home from a friend's house, and my brother's passed out in the back seat. He was like 4 or 5, and my mom and I saw a UFO in a field off to the left, off to the driver's side and into a field kind of far off. We pulled over and watched the UFO for a good couple of minutes before it actually took off, and never was paid a visit by the Men in Black. So I don't know that they
actually funny. You've just jogged a memory. My grandmother told me a story. My great uncle Alan, moving my mum's uncle, he's still with us actually. He was walking home from work one night when he claims that he saw a UFO fly over him, and the strangest thing was he was burnt down one side of his body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, like red burn. It's really strange.
It's like a radiation burn almost.
Man.
Yeah, I've actually there was a story I was looking at when I was doing some prep for tonight's show. Prep in the car, doing some prep in the car. I don't do prep in the car because I'm usually the one driving, and you can't do prep while you're driving. You can't. Don't text and drive, and don't Facebook and drive, and definitely don't read Wikipedia about Men in Black while you're driving. Oh shit! I forgot what I was going to say. But
so if you are driving a black Lincoln, look in the mirror. It might be you.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, when I was reading some of the stuff, there's so many different stories about like you were saying about the people getting burned and the radiation stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that happens when allegedly people run into some sort of extraterrestrial type vehicle. You know, like, or whatever they've, yeah. It's interesting.
Wasn't there radiation burns on the, what's that thing from Russia where all those hikers died?
Oh, the Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, there was. And, Goyam, I have been really bad about reading the emails on the show. We've had at least 4 or 5 people ask us to do a show on the Dyatlov Pass. And I hereby, on the Paranormies, Season 2, Episode 1, promise a Dyatlov Pass episode this season.
Okay, let me
write that shit down.
That real quick.
What's that?
Just immediately.
I like it, but there's not much that I think we can say about it. That has
we have like 19 people have written us emails. You don't understand. We have to do it. I don't care if we have to stretch for 2 hours.
Okay, if they want to hear it, that's cool. I'm happy.
We can do other stories that are like it too.
Yeah, like that's the whole. We do Dyatlov Pass, and then the other like weird plane crashes, and then the ones they ate the people like in the Andes and whatever. Like we can do like all kinds of shit with plane crashes. So the Dyatlov Pass.
My only issue. There's just not a lot of.
Okay, well we'll do it. Then don't do it tonight. We'll do it on that episode. It'll be that 5 minutes. But I know what I'm doing right now is I'm not. I don't care how long the story is. We're gonna do it this season.
You're hyping up our listeners. I know. I'm shitting all over it. I'm sorry.
You're shitting all over. Dude, I'm not even kidding.
What I'm trying to do, and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're just you're bad, Scott. No, we've had like at least 9-10 emails about this particular thing, the Dyatlov Pass. So we will get into it. We will research it to death. If it takes us 5 minutes or an hour or whatever, we're going to talk about it this season. I promise.
Okay.
So, all right, shut up, Scott.
Go.
Oh.
Okay.
So you right? Once you stop counter signaling, I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, shut up. Glad you got that without me having to tell you to shut up. It was great.
No, I know. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. This is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing it live.
Let me shit on that real quick.
So you were saying? Hold on a second. Yeah. Nah, yo, that ain't how it gonna be.
Those are some nice promises you made. Now let me just.
What did you? We missed you there. What did you say? There's some nice promises. What?
I said that's some nice promises you made there. Let's just lay a big fudge dragon as the fucking exclamation mark there. That'll do. Out of 10. Good going, Scott. You had one job.
Thanks. Shitting on my dream. No, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a lot of other. There's a lot of other stories that we've had people. Have any of you guys read any of the comment sections on any of our stuff that we do?
Yeah, we've covered them all.
One at a time.
Receiving comments from.
Well, I haven't. I haven't been getting any Twitter stuff because Twitter, but like the YouTube section, every episode, like I look at, I get messages on my phone, like little notifications about the YouTube, and I'll look, and there'll be 4 or 5 new comments on like a really old episode, like numerology or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I look, and it's people arguing. I love reading the arguing in our comment section.
It's great, though. I love that.
It is, because it's always like, fuck you, you're not a Christian, whatever, pagan. It's like it's great.
The best arguments.
Oh, we have the best arguments, but
holy shit.
We've gotten some good show suggestions. So I think this season we're gonna have we'll be doing a lot more. I don't know, stuff that you guys want to hear.
I gotta read this comment.
Oh shit!
I just saw it too.
Okay.
It's on the TR WrestleMania video. It's Johnny Manlet Monoxide, aka Area 5'1". I'm sorry, I had to.
Oh god.
I saw that right before you said anything. And you're like, I have a comment, and I'm like, I know what it is.
If I may address the listener, if you're reading and the Dyatlov Pass thing does come on, could you just for me comment? You can shove your Dyatlov Pass up your Dyatlov ass. Cheers.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a good one. And for those people who didn't know that I was already short, everybody knows that. Y'all gotta get a new meme. That shit ain't funny anymore. It's like old.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, that was good though.
Anyway.
For sure, it's gone on for a long time. It needs to stop.
Thank you. No, Gray, giving it some fresh air. Damn.
It's fun, but we gotta cut that short,
All right.
I tried.
So, back to what were we? Jesus Christ. The Men in Black. Have we exhausted the Men in Black thing?
I mean, kind of. I can't really think of anything. It's kind of one of those things that, like, you hear one encounter story and you kind of get the basis for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's interesting, though, like you were saying about how they don't visit everyone who sees UFOs. And I wonder what the difference is, because I know
I know why. I think I know why, because every time they visit someone, it's usually because they're holding something they picked up, or there's a sort of evidence left behind. They seem to be sort of a cleanup crew if we're doing it on that basis. Like you say, like the coins and the and like the guys finding metal objects, they seem to turn up whenever that happens. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you see a UFO, don't go searching the area. I guess you'll probably be alright.
Well, yeah, but they also visited that one guy that shot the UFO. Remember?
So, well, yeah.
No, he shot a thing, like a person.
He shot at people that came out of the UFO.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that in that case, no, because he shot the guy, and the guy's not died. So that's more of a forget what you saw kind of deal in that case.
I don't know if there's really, like, necessarily something that you can say hard and fast, like it happens then, but it doesn't happen there.
Yeah.
But it does seem like the deeper you delve into this sort of thing, the more likely it is that you're gonna have some sort of weird encounter. Yeah. Like, someone who watches the Men in Black movie and that's all they know is not going to get a visit, whereas someone who writes books about these things or something like that is more likely to get a visit.
But books on it do exist. So.
Yeah, they do.
Interestingly enough, when we were doing like the show prep for this, there's a guy on YouTube who's an author, and you really ought to listen to it because he covers this stuff far better than, well, I don't want to say better, far more in depth than we do. But his name is Nick Redfern, and he's written all sorts of books about this, and like he's written like 50 paranormal books or something like that. And in one of his talks talking about the Men in Black, he actually mentions he's never had any sort of weird encounters or anything with it. Okay. So I don't know why it would happen to, someone who's like writing their first book and they burn everything, and why it doesn't happen to someone else. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting how there's kind of that random element to it. Maybe they're from the future and they go back in time to alter timelines or something. I don't know.
Well, that would be pretty gay. But
time travel is gay.
Yeah, time travel makes you gay.
Which is why they're all so strange, is because
all right. We're not doing time travel. Time travel doesn't. All right. John Titor wasn't gay.
Earlier you mentioned that there were like medieval encounters with people wearing, black suits, and there's commonly like a plague doctor, which would be, a really easy way for them to disguise their face and their bug eyes. Because I don't think they had sunglasses back then. But there are also apparently, plenty of medieval, stories of encounters with, like they thought it was the devil or a demon. He was often dressed in black. They could change their shape, their form, that sort of thing, which is, pretty commonly, demons are referred as having that sort of ability. And a lot of those people who encountered the devil or whatever it was would have similar physical symptoms, because that was another thing that was common amongst the encounters, is people would be dizzy, they'd get nausea, they'd have amnesia, they get headaches, this kind of thing. And those were common symptoms associated with stories of encounters with the devil. And another really odd one that apparently, shiny new cars, like nice Cadillacs, luxury cars are associated with them. And apparently there's a Haitian superstition about an evil, a society of evil sorcerers called Zobops. And according to Haitians, if you see a big shiny new car going down the road and you don't see a driver, it's being controlled by the Zobops. And you shouldn't mess with those guys.
Nice.
So I don't know, maybe they just see cars with tinted windows drive by and they're like, oh shit, it's the motherfucking Zobops and shit.
Well, here's the thing. We've actually had our first alien abduction victim this week. Ever. A guy called Alan Godfrey, who's a retired police officer, and by the looks of the picture of him, an Oldham Athletic fan. He claims to be Britain's first alien abduction, who'd be keeping a close eye on the skies. Okay, so it was 35 years ago initially, sorry. Alan Godfrey is a former PC, says a close encounter with a UFO is still fresh in his mind.
Slow down, dude.
Sorry, I'm going too fast, sorry.
Alan Way Godfrey, too fast.
Sorry, I slowed down. Whoa. Sorry, high energy tonight.
Very high energy.
A former police constable says his close encounter with a UFO is still fresh in his mind as it was 35 years ago. He was on patrol in Todmorden, West Yorkshire, in the early hours of 20th of November 1980, when he believes he was snatched from his police car. Under hypnosis and arranged by solicitor Harry Harris, he recalled seeing small beings and a tall man with a beard on the craft who conducted medical tests on him. His encounter is regarded by researchers as the first alien abduction in the UK.
Wait a minute. Did you say small men with beards?
Oh my god.
Did they have funny furry hats?
Did
they steal the pocket change out of his pocket?
Actually, it's funny you say that. He said he was missing all of his money, but no, the main sort of description he's given was that their ship looked like a large jewel.
A large jewel?
Yeah,
a large jewel.
I'm actually going to post this into the chat here so you can see what this looks like. If you can imagine, I know it's autistic, but if you can imagine a Chaos Emerald from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently he was abducted by one of those. It looks like a turnip with teeth.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
So, yeah, that's our guy. I don't know what to tell you. He's official, and to this day, our only officially recognized alien abduction as well. So,
okay, why has the UK not had any abductions? That's the weirdest.
There's not enough rural space. It's too urbanized. Too many witnesses. Because you notice a lot of the stories are in rural America. You know, there's nobody around for.
I'm going to counter you here. Actually, we've got a lot of rural space. Places like the Bodmin Moors are a well-known hive of paranormal activity, as are the Yorkshire Dales.
You guys seem to have more like ghost stuff, though, like haunted.
Yeah, ghosts and monsters. We've got those. Isle Mouse tend to leave us on. I guess they saw the beast of Bodmin and thought, "Nah, fuck that. We're going to America, lads."
It's possible.
So yeah, I guess one of them got lost. That's the only explanation I can have for this, and decided to abduct a police officer.
Anti-clockwise rotation.
Anti-clockwise? What? Are you still looking at the picture? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
14
which
feet.
It's called counterclockwise. Jesus Christ, you fucking Britbongs. Anti-clockwise. No, it's counterclockwise. It's the other direction. Yeah, counterclockwise. There's a word for that already. You don't have to make up another one. Sorry.
Fucking Brits are always making up words. Did you know in Britain they call popsicles cold on the cob?
No, we don't. That's a lie. What we actually call them, we call them ice lollies.
Oh, that's because that's much better.
It's much better. It's a really lolly, which is frozen.
Yeah, well, you know, we all love lollies here in the alt-right. Anyways, oh wow, I didn't mean to go there.
Thanks, Milo.
Stop it. We're not going to ruin this first episode. What, Scott?
Shall I call out for pizza?
No, we're not.
Hey,
we're not going to do that.
We actually covered Pizzagate.
That is true.
We did, and you know, and another thing is about that Pizzagate thing is I really hope that the current administration does get into investigations and prosecutions and stuff. They've already started.
Great.
Yeah.
I was seeing stuff about they mentioned I don't know, I saw this on Reddit, so take it with like all the salt in the world, but they mentioned some sort of child sex trafficking thing that Spicer guy or whoever, Trump's press secretary, supposedly talked about how there's child trafficking in the United States. So, you know, they're like, oh, this means he's talking about pizza. Who knows? Hopefully it'd be great, but I have no idea.
Interesting.
Well, there has been arrests made. What was the guy from Pennsylvania, the Penn State guy? His kid got arrested for having child pornography or something. Shit. Wow. This is why we need an intern. We need somebody to be looking this shit up.
Yeah.
The Penn State coach who oh god damn it. I'm gonna look this up now.
So they've actually started making prosecutions around this now. So this is officially out of the realms of conspiracy and into
that's what I hear. That's why I'm looking this up.
When conspiracies are admitted to, they don't actually say like, okay, the conspiracy's real. They just go straight into like, this has always been real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no intermediate stage of, okay, you were right about this conspiracy. We admit it. It's just, oh yeah, of course, it's always been a thing. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, a conspiracy ceases to be conspiracy once it becomes public knowledge.
Oh, right.
So you
of course it does, but you'd think they would kind of admit, you know, oh, hey, those wackos were right, but, you know, of course they don't.
No, that would require some level of self-awareness. They're not capable of that.
It's not even an awareness thing. It's you know, it's very important to be able to label things as conspiracies.
Right. Yeah.
Well, here's a conspiracy for you.
Theories.
Here's a conspiracy theory for you. Sandusky was the name of the coach that was at Penn State that got Jerry Sandusky. He was given, I don't know how many years.
Not enough.
Oh, yeah, not enough. And an imprisoned sex abuser and former Penn State assistant football coach. His son was arrested on felony and misdemeanor child sexual abuse charges. And, these are like high-ranking officials in like the college football ranks. Right. So maybe Pizzagate isn't just, isn't just the Podestas and the Clintons and Washington. It's Hollywood, and it's pro sports, and it's college sports, and it's like,
well, Hollywood's well known for its basically its exploitation of children in a sense. I know there's a whole another level of, if we're going into like pedowood territory, which is a whole fucking new level of conspiracy and theories and all sorts.
Right.
You could fill up an entire episode on that alone.
I guess I think
we should do
another episode.
No, that's something we should do. That's not even a joke.
No, it's not.
Like from
because I think Corey Feldman, was it, who blew the lid on that initially.
Yeah, well, Corey Haim killed himself. And Corey Feldman wrote a book that they still won't allow to be released about the pedophilia in Hollywood. But that's a whole thing. Like, you've got Disney and Nickelodeon, the two biggest purveyors of child pornography that don't do nudity. It's bad, and these are the things that they're letting our kids watch, and these are other conspiracy theories for other shows, and we need to not just, God, because we could do that for fucking episode after episode after episode, and tie it all into the Talmud and the Kabbalah for some reason. I wonder why. That
pure coincidence.
Yes, it's probably the Masons. And speaking of Masons. We have a Mason friend whose name is Musonius Rufus, and he's going to be on with us very soon.
Nice.
To do some stuff. Yeah. No, I talked to Musonius today. We're going to do some stuff with him soon. We might bring up a certain president who was assassinated, who did a lot of things that are kind of in line with a certain president that's in power right now. There's a lot of correlations between JFK and one certain Mr. Donald J. Trump. JFK and DJT have a lot of similarities. We're going to talk about that when we have.
We are going to get,
Jim Fetzer's not coming on.
When you said when you said do stuff with Paul Musonius, I actually thought you meant like torture him for information.
Well, of course we're going to torture him for information. He's going to have to be on the show with us, which is got to be torture, right?
But we got to get Jim Fetzer.
We need to get to the bottom.
Your feud.
It's not a feud. It's well, Jim doesn't know they're feuding, basically.
It's one way.
Yeah, it's a one-way feud. But no, we're gonna this is gonna be a good season. We're gonna have a lot of fun stuff. We're gonna have some more religious conspiracy. We're gonna have some more paranormal stuff. We're gonna have some more ghost. Oh man,
Ooh, can I reel it back for a second? You remember you were talking about that Redfern bloke?
Yeah. Scott was talking about him.
I was saying, it was kicking at the back of my medulla for ages. I wanted to know where I'd heard his name before, but actually he runs a radio talk show on the paranormal called the Epic Voyages Radio. I think I've heard it for iTunes. It's pretty good, actually. I do recommend it if anyone's interested in that sort of thing.
Maybe we should reach out to him and see if maybe he wants to come on and talk about stuff. Shoot, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Let's get the Paranormies all over everybody else's radio. Like, ew, there's Paranormies on my radio.
Messy.
It sounds messy as yeah.
And,
Lord.
It sounds very green and slimy, that sort of thing.
Very ectoplasmic.
I kind of imagine like the radio being covered in like you remember the old Goosebumps font, that but saying Paranormies.
That's gross. That's just gross.
You guys ever read those books growing up?
my little, I'm older, so like they were a little young for me. But my little brother.
Yeah, it was very much my generation, so
yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. That feel win in between generations. The others are too young and you're too old.
Yeah, we have some goyim that want to come on and talk about cryptids. We're going to do some more cryptid episodes.
Nice.
Yeah, and what'd you say, Scoot?
I was just saying cryptids are always fun to talk about. That's all.
I think you should consider recovering shadow people in, because last time we did it, it turned into the what was it, Discovery Channel or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. We could do some shadow people again. That'd be fun.
Shadow People was a good episode. Yeah, we can do. There's a lot of stuff.
I did. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
I actually thought that the non-cryptid actual like animals like spiders and stuff, some of those are pretty creepy. I know it's not paranormal at all, but
no, we did that. We had Asmodor on last season. We talked about spiders for like 45 minutes. That shit was great. Yeah.
You should probably do something on like the Makale Mbembe, I think it's called. It's a supposed cryptid dinosaur that still exists in deepest Africa.
Yeah, it's like a big brontosaurus or something.
Yeah, a sauropod of some description.
There's another one, the pterodactyls and the what's the bird in Texas? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a giant bird in Texas. It's some sort of cryptid. It's called like something lightning or something. I can't remember.
Nice.
Or thunder or something. I don't know.
I was reading up on cryptozoology fairly recently, and I think the one that made me laugh the most was wheel snakes.
Wheel snakes? Like
snake.
Wheels?
Yeah, okay, so like your tail and they roll down the hill.
That's it, yeah, chasing after their prey.
Yeah.
Come on.
Thunderbird is the giant bird like.
Well, the Thunderbirds actually occur all over the United States. There's Thunderbird accounts from what was the Triangle, that episode that we had with Bradshaw. Oh my god,
wasn't it?
Which one?
Bridgewater.
The Bridgewater.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. I forgot the name of an episode of this show. Yeah, the Bridgewater. They had the Thunderbirds in there, and they've been seen in New Jersey, and they've been seen in Virginia, and so the Thunderbirds aren't just like a localized sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over, from what I've gathered.
Yeah. I say you got things like. I mean, especially with flying ones. I mean, there's people have seen things like dragons, griffins, tarasques. I think the most plausible one are the ones that are in the sea. Like your sea serpents, your kraken, and so. I mean, we know less about our oceans than we do about space. Mm-hmm. So
that's true. That is true.
Depths, What could be down there? I mean, you've got the phenomena like bloop, which is supposedly so loud that it, outranks the noise of the largest animal ever found beneath the blue whales. So you never know. That feel when going swimming and swallowed by a basilosaurus,
I don't want to get eaten. I don't want to get eaten by a mosasaur. I'm sorry.
Oh, fuck no. It's a magical Leopleurodon. Sorry.
Well, if that's how I have to go, if that's how I have to go, being eaten by a mosasaur, I guess.
I can think of worse ways. But,
how did Johnny die? He got eaten by a giant prehistoric shark.
Oh, lad.
Right?
He was told
write about
you. Megalodon.
They will write about you in books for years and be on all sorts of docudramas. Yeah. Documentaries.
Won't do you any good, of course, but
I'll get eaten by an underwater dinosaur of some sort. I'll be sure to try to communicate with you guys, and we can do an episode about it.
From within the dinosaur's stomach.
But dude, it had paddle fins. It was huge.
I was thinking through like a medium because I'd be dead, but if we want to try to go like the Jonah route, we can do that too, I guess.
It's got the idea of like live from the plesiosaur's stomach. Here's Scoot. How's it going? Well, I'm digesting, but I'm otherwise okay.
Yeah, I'll still have better internet than I normally do.
Oh god,
it's probably true. It's those plesiosaurs probably have good Wi-Fi.
Well, it is well known that all cryptids have Wi-Fi. In fact, that's how they search for them. Many people turn up at Loch Ness.
I think you get data underwater.
Yeah.
It'll have to be Wi-Fi.
Have Wi-Fi? Is that the new time travel makes you gay? Is that the new thing?
Yeah, but
Oh, God.
Well, considering the amount of students that sit around Loch Ness with their laptops open, I'm willing to believe it.
Dude,
Is that why?
Back off topic. When you said Loch Ness, supposedly there have been Men in Black sightings associated with the Loch Ness monster.
Really?
Okay.
Oh shit!
Yes. People who have seen the Loch Ness monster have supposedly been visited by the Men in Black, and also UFOs have been spotted around Loch Ness as well.
Wow.
I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. Supposedly, the Loch Ness was a place where Aleister Crowley held some sort of, whatever the hell he did.
Yeah. I actually have a story about that. I remember visiting Loch Ness with some friends a few years ago, and we did actually get a knock at the door, and there was this large sort of plesiosaur in a black suit and tie, and we were like, "Oh God, we're terrified. What do we want?" And he was like, "About 350." Fortunately, there was a black man nearby, and had a conversation. But still,
that was bad.
I couldn't help myself. I really couldn't.
Plesiosaur in a black suit. That was bad. Oh.
Sunglasses, you know.
Right.
They look human to me, but you know, completely fooled. What have I become? Anyway,
you've become Gray, co-hoster of many shows.
Oh man, tell me about it. It's
how is that
cool.
going?
I mean, it's weird. I mean, I've obviously done a lot of different things since I sort of stepped back from here. I've appeared on the Roach Music Chamber. I've obviously co-host Flash Britannia. I do my wrestling show, but none of it ever feels as comfy as like coming back and sort of seeing you guys. Honestly, it's great to be here. You know, so
yeah, I know you say that to all the shows.
You've seen my cards, shit. I'm like, okay.
Well, the thing is you do a couple of different shows, and I'm co-hosting This Week in White Genocide with Horace, and I've done like a complete round of all the TRS podcasts, from the Godcast to the War Room to being hammered shit-faced drunk on the Daily Show and the Fatherland.
Were you on the Fatherland ferry recently?
And I was on the Fatherland talking about my family situation.
Yeah.
And and all that. So like that feel when like you have to do different shows and whatever, and it's fun, man. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly awesome. I enjoy talking. This is why we do what we do.
It's getting you to shut up. That's the problem. All right, lads.
No, it's true. People know it's hard to get me to be quiet, especially when I have a microphone. And a captive audience. And a captive audience.
Hey, you're good at what you do. Like I say, you should.
As are you. All right, let's stop sucking each other's dicks, and we'll no.
But I'm so close.
Right. Oh, Jesus Christ! I didn't think we were going to go there on the first episode.
Yeah, I usually wait till the third before sucking dick, but there you go.
Well, it's good. It's good having you back on, Gray. I don't know, like, man, we got Scott Taylor, we got Adam Haidt, Johnny Monoxide, and Greyfield Stray. We are the Paranormies, man. This has been cool. Like, we did an entire first season. Now we're on our second season. I don't know. We're gonna finish up this episode. We will do a creepypasta, as we always do. And you gentlemen got anything you want to say on the way out the door?
Nope.
I'm good. I think I've showed enough.
Yeah, that's I'm ready to see where season 2 takes us.
Yeah, this should be good. All right, fellas, for the right stuff.biz, I am Johnny Monoxide with Adam Haidt, Scott Taylor, and Greyfield Stray. We're going to take you out with a creepypasta. We will talk to you next week. Later.
4 years ago, my family moved from the city. We couldn't take the fast-paced life anymore. And we were a wealthy and well-educated family, so we figured we would move somewhere remote and peaceful. Hayabi Forest, western part of Maine, is where we settled. Now in our family, we had me, the oldest son, then you had my father, my mother, one brother, and one sister. Things were always fine around here. We lived off the land and life was great. But then everything changed. And it wasn't for the better. Oh God, it was horrifying. I'm alone now. It got them. And I'm sure I'm next. So to whoever listens to this recording, I hope you never stay here. It will get you too. These are my final thoughts and my horrific story. It all started when my sister went for water one day. She didn't return for almost an hour, but we lived alone out here, or so we thought. I still hear her scream sometimes. That ear-splitting cry of terror, and the scene of my father and brother flashing looks of extreme terror before breezing through the door. They came back glistening in blood, all over their pants and shoes, crying uncontrollably. They had found nothing left of her but a few bone splinters, her ripped clothes, and a puddle of blood. Things were never the same after that day. Mother never really spoke again after seeing her daughter's remains. The next person to go was my father. Our food was running low and we were snowed in, so we couldn't go to town. He grabbed his rifle and took to the wilderness around us. He didn't come back when we expected him to. My brother and I decided that we would go search for him in the morning. There was no need to go out then. Around 1 a.m., I was dozing in a kitchen chair when there was a low, guttural growl from outside the door. Then a resounding bang, bang, bang on the door, and then a loud thump. A flash of a mottled black-furred creature on two hind legs sprinted past my window. That set me off. I screamed at the top of my lungs until my brother ran it to me and asked what was happening. I recounted the story to him, and he grabbed a rifle and handed me one, then motioned silently towards the door. He made to open it and cracked it open very slowly and gasping in fear. It was our father, or what was left. His corpse was mangled to extreme lengths. Arms were gone, eyes were gouged out, and he was covered in claw marks that dripped crimson. My brother collapsed in horror and shut the door weakly. No one left in the house anymore. My mother still never spoke. She would weakly nod or shake her head to communicate, if even that. My brother would break down at anything that reminded him of our lost family. But what I realized is that whatever that thing is, it's not stopping until it kills every single one of us. I can feel it. A few weeks had passed. We lived in fear. Some nights we would hear those horrid growls, and we would make sure no one fell asleep that night. Instead, we would stay up with guns in hand until daybreak. One morning, after a long night of paranoia, my brother proclaimed that he was taking supplies and heading to town. Freedom or death, he said. One of them happens today. He offered to take us with him. I pleaded with him not to go, but he insisted. I told him I would not go. My mother just shook her head mutely. He said he would send for help when he got to town, and to keep everything locked. Don't you dare leave. Don't you even stick your nose out that damn door, he said. I know I was only 10 months older than him, but I felt awful about him being the one who was going out. I knew it was going to get him. I knew. That night he walked out just before dark fully struck. Having made sure we were okay and had supplies, he began the nightmarish walk to the car. He got to the car and opened the half-frozen door after a few violent tugs on the handle. It was then that I heard the sound that unnerved me on the spot. He turned the key, and as the car started, a blood-curdling scream lit the night air. The beast left the trees from the side opposite my brother. The creature must have been almost 8 feet tall, with mangled black wolf's face and body, but it walked on its own 2 legs. Or rather, it sprinted. My brother opened his eyes in fear and smashed his foot onto the gas pedal. The thing pounced onto the car and violently smashed his window. My brother steered wildly, trying to get away from the creature. But he crashed his car, smashed it into a tree. And that didn't kill him. The beast reached into the car and pulled the still squirming body out of it. The creature looked right at me through the window from a distance before slicing open my brother's stomach with its razor-sharp claws. Blood dripped from his body and he went limp. The creature walked slowly towards the door, knowing he wanted me to fear him. He knew I was frozen. It reached the door and I hugged my rifle tight. There was a thud and another 3 bangs, although they went slowly this time. Bang. 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 Then it screamed its own chilling scream like that of a banshee and stampeded off to the woods. I couldn't open the door to retrieve my own brother's remains. I haven't slept since then. I just watched the door and listened for him, waiting for him to come back. It's just me and my mother now. She doesn't eat or sleep or drink. She hasn't moved from her chair in 3 days. Until her death, I don't think she ever moved again, actually. It was a long night. 4 days without sleep. I've heard the growls every night since my brother's grisly demise. But tonight, they were louder. It was tonight. He would attack. I knew it. I loaded my rifle and waited for it, thinking he would come through the door or the window in the kitchen. I was wrong. My mother sat in the other room, but even with my phobia of it, I let her be. It was late when I began to hear scraping along the sides of the house. 4 times he circled. We were trapped, and he knew it. It stopped and my heartbeat quickened. As if in slow motion, I realized where he stopped just a moment too late, right next to the side of the house where my mother was. I knew my fears were true when I heard the disheartening sound of the window shattering in the other room. I was routed. I heard the beast call and drop to my knees. I saw him walk to my mother, and in one stroke, he took her throat, and within a heartbeat, her chest. He screamed and dove from her room. This was just a few short hours ago. The scrapings are starting again. To whomever finds this, leave quick. Don't look back. Oh God. The scraping stopped. I don't have long. These have been my final thoughts, and the last ones I'll ever have. Please, heed this warning! Oh God!